We all thought that.
Yeah, that's.
I'm going to get a record deal,
and then be happy
yeah.
for the rest of my life. You think this is, this is my pot of gold at the end of my rainbow, and this is.
I got a record deal. I'm all set.
That's it. And then you get it, and you realize, oh, this is just another step. This is another step, and it's not even the step I thought it was, because now I have all of these people above me who are trying to, in some way, dictate my art or dictate the direction. And it's like, I'm like, damn, y'all signed me because of like my creative energy. And now you're trying.
How is everybody doing? Welcome to the new, latest and greatest episode of Stories to Tell. I'm in LA. It's weird for me to be in one place for very long. I get very restless. I guess I just have this need to move from the decades and decades of touring. Luckily, my wife is similar in that disposition. So we, even when I'm not touring, instead of just chilling out and being in one place, we're always planning another trip. And we love to travel. So it works out for us, but it's weird to be just sort of still here in LA for even a period of a couple of weeks. But it's a good time to be here. With all of its faults, I really do love Los Angeles. I really do. And it's such a beautiful time of year right now. Everything's blooming. People are back in the pool. And yeah, it's good. It's a good time. I also want to remind you guys that I do have this single out called Forget About the World that I wrote with my boys. If you haven't heard it or checked it out yet, I would love you to check it out and see what you think. Such a blast writing and recording a song with my sons. It's the second time I've done that. And this song, Forget About the World, I feel is very timely and modern and fresh, and it's really fun record to make. On to the episode. Let's talk about the episode. What can I say about Eric Benét? That sounds like a song I'm making up. What can I say about Eric Benét? You know, I really, really like Eric Benét, and I shouldn't. I could give you reasons why I should dislike him. He's far too handsome. He sings far too well. He's funny. He's a really good actor. He's a writer. He's a journeyman. He's got his hands in all kinds of projects and all kinds of things. He's interesting, funny, thoughtful, cool guy. And we've known each other for a while. He's one of those people I know who we always make plans to get together, and we hardly ever really do, but we run into each other. We run into each other at airports, and that's sort of our time to click and sit and catch up. And I really, really enjoy his company. And he's got an album out. It's been out now for a little while of duets, and it's a real throwback to classic R&B. And he really is the carrier of that torch, I think, these days. If you get a chance to see him live, you should. He's incredible. He's really one of the most talented people out there, and has been doing it year after year after year, and has had an incredible career and just keeps going. I think that my conversation with him brought up some new topics that he hadn't really explored as much before. So I found it to be a really great hang and a really interesting conversation. And I hope you guys enjoy it. If you haven't subscribed to Stories to Tell yet, do that. Hit the subscribe button and check out every episode. And for now, enjoy this episode with my very special guest, the great Eric Benét.
Eric Benét.
Man, listen.
Cheers.
L'chaim. Richard, Martini Manor. I love you, man.
I love you too. All right, so my friend, it's great to see you. It's great to have you here and see you in a place other than an airport, which is where we always run into
each other. We got to go get that bread, man. That bread ain't gonna come to me. I got to go get it.
But for touring musicians who are friends, to run into each other the last time was a few weeks ago.
That's a bonus.
It was the best, and it was an early morning.
Right.
And I remember going like, oh. I was getting coffee or something, and you came up and hit me.
Right.
And I was so happy to see you. And then and you were on my flight, so we got to sit in the lounge and catch up. You are really one of my favorite hangs.
Man, I love you.
And we don't
see
each other enough.
We don't see each other enough. You are such a cool dude to hang with. And then the music. By the way, as good as he looks right now in the airport, can I use my colloquial?
Yeah. Oh,
this motherfucker right here always looks good.
All right, let's start with that then. Mm-hmm. Because the first time you and I started hanging out, and then you did a TV special with me.
Yeah, that was great.
And you showed up, and I was like, I've got to up my style game. And then watching you on Instagram, and it's like, but I look like I've seen this.
Yeah,
this is a
repeat. I've worn this before.
That's a good piece, and I was jealous of it.
I crocheted this all by myself.
You're never going to see it again.
Hey, I'll trade with you any day. I could pick up that pillow and probably make more money than half my wardrobe.
But, that's one thing I want to talk to you about is because, I think it's so awesome when people do have a sense of style that's not generic.
Yeah.
And I wonder, did you always have, like when you were a kid, were you into clothes and were you always about having style?
Okay, see, I can tell already this interview is starting off the right way because you're asking some good questions, man. Because when it's a good question, when as soon as a question comes out, the nostalgic memories start flooding your head. And as soon as you ask that question, I thought about my mother.
Oh.
Now, my mother...
Is she still with us?
No, my mother... Well, I lost my mother like in 2018. But my mother was one of those women. Joyce Arlise Jordan. My full name is Eric Benét Jordan, by the way.
Oh, okay.
My mom would light up a room, and she had not only the personality, but the looks, and she made sure that she was, whatever the room was, it could have been the Met Gala, she was going to be the best dressed woman up in that mug. And so something about that, here's the mom.
Here's the mom.
Yeah. So something from my mom just was like, whenever you leave the house, look your best. That's why I got these flip-flops on, you guys.
I mean, and I wore these just in honor of Eric Benét.
I am jealous of these motherfuckers.
But I've seen you wear something similar to
I do got some fly shoes, but I want...
Two-tone Elvis.
I want them.
One of the cool... we'll cut this out, but I have to tell you.
Yeah.
About 6 or 7 years ago, I opened for Rod Stewart in Atlanta at that big Verizon...
Why are you gonna cut this?
Well, maybe I won't.
Yeah.
And I had met him once or twice before. I'm a Rod Stewart freak. And we have become friends over the last couple of years. But
I'll tell you a little Rod Stewart thing. One stupid
But I've seen him live more than anybody else. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan. So getting the call, hey, would you want to come and open for Rod at this big outdoor place in Atlanta? I was like, I'm there. And I hadn't seen him in a long time. And at this point, it was just sort of like, hey, mate, how you doing kind of thing. We weren't friends like we are now. So I get there and I'm about to take the walk down to start to do my opening set. And he arrives at the building and he comes down the hall to say hello. And as we're walking towards each other, he goes, dear boy. And we look down and we're both wearing these shoes.
Wow, those are some Rod Stewart looking shoes.
Right?
Wow.
And there's a picture of us standing there with our shoes.
My Rod Stewart story ain't that dope, but I'll tell you my Rod Stewart story. So the Nancy Davis and the Davises, they do the race to Erase MS, and it's wonderful. Like when I'm in town and when I can, I'll do it.
Yeah, it's a great event.
And one night I was doing the Race to Erase event and I was singing, I think I was singing first of all, I was singing Let's Dance.
David Bowie.
Yes, Nile Rodgers on guitar.
Damn.
And Slash.
Oh, wow.
And which was crazy. And I'm looking over, what? And at the end of the set, Rod Stewart, I see Rod Stewart like right in the third row. And as soon as I finish the joint, he just jumps up, yeah, that was great.
Oh.
So now I'm thinking about it. That probably was for No, Rogers.
No, he was.
Slash.
You're the kind of singer he loves.
Okay,
Totally.
thank you.
Totally. I'm seeing him in a couple of days. I'll point blank ask
Please
him.
do.
I will.
You have another dear friend. We're talking about all these people. So who is the...
We're getting back to you in half a
We'll
second.
get back to me. I'm whatever.
Yeah.
But the coolest mother is Hugh Jackman. And I'll tell you why. Not that you don't already know, but I'll tell you why. I know Hugh Jackman is a cool-ass mother. So I was actually on the set of the first X-Men film.
I understand why you would be.
Yes. Directed by Bryan Singer, and it was so new, and the concept of this huge, big budget like X-Men movie was, and all of the celebrities were fairly new to the game, and Hugh, I remember going on set one day and being introduced to him. And he was just like, he was this young Australian who was just like, hey, mate, I heard you sing, man. Yeah, it's on Broadway and tell me about your stuff, Oh, that's bloody great, So he had that.
And genuinely interested.
Genuine, right?
Yeah.
Flash forward, many life events happened, and it's probably like 10 years later. And I'm at some cafe on Melrose, and I'm just having something to eat, and I see Hugh, and now he's Hugh Jackman.
Huge
Jackman. Many movies later, international superstar. And I see him, he gets out of his car, and I'm thinking to myself, there's no way.
I know where this is going.
He's going to remember me, and if he does, he'll probably fake it.
Right.
And be gracious. And I was like, hey, Hugh, how you doing? Holy shit. What's going on, man? You doing all right? It's like, I was like, you genuine motherfucker.
Well, on the heels of that, so we've been really good friends for about 20 years. And like a brother, And he's really close to my family. My mother, who passed a few years ago,
I'm sorry,
he was friends with her. He would send her videos on her birthday.
He's
that guy.
He is that dude.
But years ago, about 10, 12 years ago, when he did his one-man show on Broadway and then took it around the world, he called me and said, I'm scared to do this. Can I come? I was living in Chicago at the time. He said, can I come to your house and will you sit with me and help me figure out material and help me start to put this thing together? So I get to help start to put that one-man show together.
That is so dope.
And at one point, we decided to fly to New York together to work out some stuff because he had to work in New York and I was free to do it. So we both flew to New York from Chicago. On JetBlue, we landed. He had arranged a car to take us into town. And there's a driver with a sign that said Jackman.
Okay. I was going to ask you if it said Hugh Jackman.
It said Jackman.
Okay.
And he spots him and we go, the driver takes our bags and as soon as the driver gets in the car, Hugh says, he goes, Adam, isn't it? And the driver turns around like he's incredulous and he goes, yes, sir. He goes, I only drove you once a couple of years ago. And he's yeah, Adam. He goes, your son is, and he's like.
That's him.
And then the guy got out of the car for a second and was blown away, got out of the car for something. And I swear to God, this is true. And I'm just sitting there watching this and I turned to him and I said, you're a the whole, because okay with the photographic memory and shit.
It's not that you're not a nice guy and you wouldn't do it, but
he's making all of us look like.
Guessing you're like me where I probably wouldn't have remembered to do.
I probably wouldn't.
Right.
Or if I did or it was vague, then I'm being like, I don't want to.
I kind of sort of remember.
Yeah, and it's not that I don't
mother's
care.
Name's Gretchen, right?
That's
right.
The level of savant he is in terms of that.
He's a beautiful dude, man.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
But back to you and your style before we let go of this.
You see what I was trying to avoid the whole.
So, do you think in terms of style, because I'm really curious about this, first in terms of stage performance, because you live perform most of the time, and how much do you also then think, I want to carry some of that off stage? I want, like if somebody sees me, not that you're like always on, right? But if you're thinking to yourself, you've got a loyal fan base. You're a famous guy. So if you're sitting in a deli or you're sitting having a drink somewhere, you know that people are going to go, I think that's Eric. Is that Eric Benét? do you think to yourself, I want to look fly, I want to look really good all the time?
I do. I kind of feel like my offstage fly is like this.
Yeah, but
it's
fly.
like, it's like flip-flops, these pants, and a little whatever.
But you're still put together.
I mean, I know I look good, man. You know what I'm saying?
But it's fun,
No,
right?
thanks, man. No, but it's fun. But then when it's on stage, I like to think that I want to step it up for the audience.
Right. Give them show business. Give them,
give them a little razzmatazz.
Yeah, good for you.
Mm-hmm. What about you? Because
I've evolved
no.
over the years.
First of all, when I see you and you're not in performance mode, look who's talking. This motherfucker always looks like this with the 1958 classic Elvis Presley shoes and this looks like a simple white shirt, but I bet you got that like London or some shit.
I didn't. It's Suit Supply. One of my favorite stores.
You lying.
Suit Supply, Culver City. I mean,
I
Century
do love
City.
Suit Supply. I got a couple suits from Suit Supply.
Look, Suit Supply.
Oh, he's telling the truth.
Yeah,
well, it looks good on you.
I mean, I am sporting a more expensive belt.
What is
it's
it?
a Hermes belt.
Hermes belt? See, I ain't got no Hermes belt.
But I'm also married to Daisy Fuentes, who is like, you're not wearing that.
Well, she's pretty incredible.
She's pretty incredible. But she's my stylist. She's my stylist.
I'm pretty much my stylist.
Yeah, but you rocking it.
Thanks, man.
I also want to talk to you about something I don't think I've ever heard you talk about in interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk about it because I don't think that most people know how entrepreneurial, for lack of a better word,
right,
you have been for as long as you've been.
Yeah, man.
So when I started to go, I was aware of you from the get-go.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know back then was that within a couple albums, you were like, I'm gonna work for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have my own label.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna sign other people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Was that always the plan, or did you stumble into it from? And I'll say for myself, I never, when I was with a label, I never had anything but an adversarial relationship with a label.
And ever. There you go. Therein lies the inspiration.
So was that what your inspiration?
So it's like when you're or at least I'm just a kid in Milwaukee. I can write a song, I can sing a little bit, and so I had a dream to maybe get a record deal someday. And in my mind, you know how it is. It's like whatever you imagine that's going to make you happy. Once you get it, it's like, that was cool, but I want some more. Not so much more money, more stuff, but it's like just something else.
Yeah.
So I think until the record deal and the first album and the songs starting to happen domestically and internationally happen, that was the dream. I'd be like, that's going to sustain me.
We all thought that.
Yeah,
I'm going to get a record deal,
and then be happy
for
for the rest of my life. You think this is, this is my pot of gold at the end of my rainbow, and this is.
I got a record deal. I'm all set.
That's it. And then you get it, and you realize, oh, this is just another step. This is another step, and it's not even the step I thought it was, because now I have all of these people above me who are trying to, in some way, dictate my art or dictate the direction. And it's like, I'm like, damn, y'all signed me because of like my creative energy. And now you're trying. So anyway, I think that probably was the catalyst to, okay, I'm still going to keep fighting my creative battles within the system for as long as I need to, but I need to start thinking about having my own label so that I don't have to fight those battles. I'll have new ones. But, and then once I was able to leave Warner Brothers and start my own thing, then it started to spark some other interests that I've always had. I was always like a storyteller and writing short stories and this, that, and the other. And I thought, well, shit, let me try to get a TV show sold or shoot some short films. And
well, I mean, as recently as just a couple of years ago, with anybody, people can see that, right? It is out.
I think they
somewhere.
still can. I think 8 people probably saw it on
Okay, but it needs to be 8 million people.
I agree with
He wrote and created this thing called Snap. is a short film.
You were one of the first people to see it.
You sent. I had to have a password to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
A password protected link.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's always, you know how it is, like when somebody you have a fondness for,
Mm-hmm.
and even somebody you respect creatively, hits you with, hey, here's this thing I'm doing that is nothing, that's really outside of the box of what I do.
Right.
But I want your honest opinion. You're
And it's like, you sure about that, bro?
Are you sure? Because
I'm an honest motherfucker, and most people suck when they're not doing their main thing.
And I wasn't predicting it to be bad, but I had that thought of what if I don't dig it, and like what am I gonna. And so Daisy and I, we watched it in this room, actually.
That's dope. That's so dope.
And we watched it 3 times. Wow. Because it was so compelling.
That's dope.
First of all, the piece itself is so well written and so well done.
Thank you.
But I know you had acted, but I don't think I'd ever seen you act. So I was sort of like, is this gonna be Eric being Eric?
Or Eric being horrible.
Or Eric being horrible?
Right.
And I couldn't get over how good you were. How natural. Like,
can you look in that
I'm
camera
not,
and say that again?
Look, you do know me well enough to know that I wouldn't bring it up.
First
if
of
I
all,
didn't really feel this way about this,
he
I
would
wouldn't
not
bring it
bullshit.
up.
Let me tell you that right now.
No. So I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy that you have that out. And I do hope that everybody gets to see it.
Thank you, man.
It's called Snap, and it's awesome.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, I just...
But what you were saying is, when you free yourself of trying to... And I think part of the fear is, when we do feel like we're being manipulated by the people who are giving us advances, who we feel are responsible for getting our stuff out there, especially when we're young, the fear of rocking that boat is so terrifying. And then you look back later and you go, wow, God, I wish somebody had come to me and said, just go do what you have to do.
Just do you.
Yeah.
Just do you. No, you're absolutely right.
I mean, for instance, do you think that you have, throughout your career, been sort of unfairly pigeonholed as an R&B artist instead of an artist?
I think so.
I think so, 100%.
I think so.
And I think Luther had the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know from working with him that was one of his biggest pet peeves.
So incredibly vast and full of musical information. So.
Yeah. But once he blew up as an R&B artist, his assumption was, okay, that's fine, but you're going to cross me over, right? Like, this is not just an R&B song. This one, Power of Love, that's a pop song.
Yeah.
There's this one, there's that one. And they would not work his records
man.
at pop radio until an outside song came in called Here and Now. And then I don't remember how he convinced them or how that it became such a massive crossover hit. But Eric, even after that, he would bring in an album and they would just put it out on the R&B charts.
Man,
and it would drive him bonkers.
As it would. I mean, before we started rolling, I'll let you hear a couple songs. Weren't R&B, but it was just me being free as I can now on my own label and doing what I want to do. And I and my team can find creative ways of promoting this. And a lot of times, the R&B radio who have embraced me for 30 years, they don't want that either.
Right.
So it's like, what is this? We want the Eric Benét, like, the high falsetto and the thing and the thing and the...
Well, I mean, the duet.
Now, not that what they want isn't what I love, because I love to do some good old R&B.
But that's old. This is old school R&B.
Right.
That is so awesome.
Yes.
And that combination of your voices. Tamar.
She, first of all, let's talk about Tamar a little bit. So, Snoop Dogg, oddly enough, did a touring musical journey of his life. And it was a pretty successful tour.
Yeah.
It was kind of like telling the story of his life through music and rap. And he asked me to be a part of it. And I'm thinking to myself,
did you have a background with him?
No.
Wow.
So I'm like, really?
Wow.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So I sang a couple songs and I played his manager, and it was great. It was great. And Tamar was part of that tour as well. And that's how we really, I mean,
When you say you played his manager, you like played a character during the show?
There was some acting and some this, that, and
oh,
the
that
other.
sounds amazing.
It was a lot of fun. So Tamar was part of this production as well. And that's where we really, really got a chance to like hang out and have fun and goof around backstage. And she's hilarious. And we would say, yo, at some point we got to do something together. And people always say, I've been saying that shit with you for about 15 years, goddammit. But so had the idea with my business manager, Allison Ball, to do a duets album. And this particular song, this is a song that I did not write. I wish I wrote
Which is rare.
Yeah. But when I heard this song, we knew that Tamar's voice would just sound incredible on this, and it does. It's called Something We Can Make Love To, and it is. It's got that old school R&B feel.
It's a baby. It's a baby maker.
It's a baby making situation, and it killed on the charts. It did great.
Doesn't that feel great?
It feels so good because you never really know, because there's better than anybody, including me or anybody else watching right now. As a songwriter, you got them joints. When you're writing it, you feel like, oh my God, when the world hears this is going to be the return of this, that, and the other, and this is going to be my biggest hit. And then you put it out there and people might be, yeah, that's cool. But then they'll hear another song that you did where it's like, man, we did this in like literally 3 minutes and I just put some drums on it and I did this and I put this, oh my God, that's the best. And then that's the hit.
Yeah. Well, I've never had the experience of writing a song and thinking it was a hit. Never.
I did once.
And were you right?
I was right on that one song.
Which was?
Spend My Life with Tamia.
But that's your biggest hit, right?
That is my biggest hit.
Yeah. And it was massive. So I get that.
Yeah.
But I don't, and I wish I could. Wait,
motherfucker. Out of all the songs you wrote, all the hits you've written,
not one.
You'd never like finished writing that shit and been like, damn.
Yes. I've gone, damn, that's like the best song I've written.
But didn't know if it was...
Never. I have no sense of what, from myself, is going to be a single or what would be a hit. And they've all been surprises. Every one of them. The biggest song I ever wrote was Right Here Waiting. Not once. When I wrote Right Here Waiting, the first thing I did is try to give it to Barbra Streisand. What? Because I was like, I'm going to record this song. And luckily she rejected it. She turned it down. You know what she said?
What?
I love the music, but Richard, I'm not going to be right here waiting for anybody.
I don't even know Babs, but that sounds like her.
And she handed me, inadvertently, the biggest song of my life. But I did not. And what probably you've experienced, though, that I have experienced, is when the first time you play a song, especially live, like I remember playing Right Here Waiting for the first time, and it was on a second album, so I was already like rolling. I had a good career going. I'd had some big hits, so there was anticipation for the new album. It wasn't the first single from the album, but I did a gig on the beginning of that tour.
Now, let me ask you this. Before you played that song live, was it already out there as a single? Or
No,
it was just like...
hadn't come out yet.
All right.
The album wasn't out yet.
Wow. Okay.
It was just the first single, which was a song called Satisfy, which was doing well. It was going up the charts. But no one had heard the album.
Okay.
So in this gig, I sat down at the piano and I just played Right Here Waiting. And I remember my guitar player, my band turned around and looked at me and went, oh my God. Like people were singing it at the end of the third chorus. They were singing it the first time they heard it.
That's the best, man.
And that's part of the simplicity of it. But those times when you play a song live and nobody's heard it and they freak the fuck out,
right?
That's the goosebumps for me. And that, by the way, as you know, that doesn't always mean that's going to be a hit song.
That's true too.
Right?
That's true too.
How many times have we played songs and people go, oh, that's going to be the biggest song ever?
And then it's like, nah.
So I don't have that experience, but I love that you felt that way and you were right about that.
Let me ask you this as a songwriter. Do you feel that a hit song is not only predicated on the song, it's not only predicated on the artist, the audience who hears it, it's not only predicated on how you perform it and record it, but a big part of it is the state of public or the society at the time. Like,
Yeah, I think sometimes, for sure.
yeah.
For sure, sometimes.
Like if I would really spend my life right now, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also experienced, I don't know if you relate to this, but I experienced some of the hits or the songs that really got accepted at radio. I remember being so surprised because they didn't sound like anything else the radio was playing.
Yeah, and that's the magic though, right?
Yeah. But you never know. Like, it's a good excuse to not play it. Radio would be like, this is so not what we're playing. Instead of like, wow, this is so different than what we're playing, let's play it. And then the public hears it and goes, thank God, something else, something different.
Have you done, I know you have, but have you had those meetings when you were in the system and you were at the record label and you were with whoever it was and they were like, all right, let's hear the new project, motherfucker, you've been working on it for, okay. And then you go in, all right, here's this song, you play what you think of the hits, and then the meeting is over and it's like, wow, that's great. And then they ask you, all right, let me hear something you didn't pick for the album. And then you play that song and that's the mother. Have you done that before?
No. I haven't had that exact experience, but you obviously have.
I've had that happen. A song that I wrote called "You're the Only One," and it was a song that it's like I did this album, and it fit a vibe and it fit where I was thematically with the record, and then I was like, the meeting was done. We thought we knew what the single was, and the head of promo was like, this guy's named Ken Wilson, used to be at Warner Brothers. Now he's the head of promotion at my label, JBR.
Good.
He's like, I know you got some more music, man. You've been writing for like 6 months. Play me one of the motherfuckers that you didn't play. I'm like, what am I gonna play? All right, let me play this. And that was the single that was number one. It's like,
this is the best. I love the ones that are really unexpected like that.
I love that.
I've tried to like leave songs off of albums, and then friends of mine will hear it, or somebody will go, you can't leave that off.
Right.
And then that will become a huge hit. And I'll go, and I'll be the one sitting there going, I wrote the motherfucker.
Right.
And I'll be sitting there going, really?
Where does it come from?
That one?
Songwriter to songwriter. Where does that's dope. Where's the pencil? Let me get keyboard.
If you could please tell me.
Where does it come from?
If you could please ever tell me, please tell me, because I don't know. I don't remember the thought process of song after song after song. I don't remember what got me to writing that series of notes or that line of lyric. I don't remember. I have no memory. So my guess, and I am not religious in any way, shape, or form, but I'm spiritual in a way that I really believe that it is some kind of I always say that, so I think songs come through us.
Absolutely.
From somewhere else. And it's our job to kind of pull them down, maybe.
I describe it like, I feel like when I'm writing a song, I see a painting that nobody else can see.
It's a great metaphor.
But there are clouds in front of the painting. And
It's
I'm
a
like,
great metaphor.
I think I could wait. And then writing the song is trying to move you getting the shit out of the way.
Yeah.
So you can see it clearly.
And I have this thing where, I don't know about you, but I don't write songs. I've never written songs in a linear way, in that, first of all, I hardly ever write a song with an instrument. I write it in here.
That I usually, the hook just comes out of nowhere.
And do you hear everything?
I hear everything except the lyrics.
Oh yeah, a lot of the time for me too. But when I say you hear everything, do you hear a melody, or do you hear the drum part and the bass and the guitar parts?
I hear a cloudy, per my metaphor, a cloudy version of there's horns. I can't quite hear exactly what they're doing, but I definitively hear the melody.
Yeah.
And I'll hear the bass note, so I can.
So it's a similar thing.
Yeah.
Well, I always write music first, always. Always. One exception, right, where I got to write a song with Burt Bacharach towards the end of his life.
That was one of my dreams, man.
It was my dream too, and I'm so glad it came true.
That was one of my dreams.
But
Paul Williams too.
Yeah, amazing. But Burt writes music to an existing lyric.
That's crazy.
So it scared the shit out of me, because I was like,
do that, man.
I don't know. But
I do not do that.
I just locked myself in a room and wrote, some lines that I thought would have a meter.
That's me.
And he took it and just wrote this amazing song. But to what you were saying, that's how I hear music too. And I think that's why we're good producers.
Probably,
You produce, you produce the majority of what you've done. I don't think people really necessarily know how formidable you are as a songwriter.
Oh,
or that
thank you,
know,
man.
I mean,
Thank you.
so songwriter to songwriter, that is the thing that sort of, I don't know where it comes from. It just,
I was hoping to get an answer from you when I asked you, because I don't know.
Grateful when it does.
And it's like that when you hear that initial melody or the initial foundation, I don't know the lyrics, but for me, there's an emotion attached to that melody.
And the music tells us what the lyrics should be.
Boom! I say that all the time. The music tells me what the lyrics are.
And I struggle with lyrics. Like, music is easy for me to write.
Yeah, I called you one time and said, "Look, I need some help on these lyrics."
Oh,
and
that's right.
And your
that's right.
niece or somebody.
Oh no, it was it? Yes.
Yes.
No, it was my son's girlfriend.
Yes.
Ex-girlfriend now.
Okay. Well, she was great.
Yeah, and she is. She's a very talented. I
great.
co-wrote with her too. She's a very talented young lady.
Did you hear the song? I think the song she did was...
I don't think you ever sent it to me.
Yeah, it was for that musical for one of the episodes of Snap.
Snap, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Here's a question I bet you've never been asked.
Okay.
That I wish somebody had asked me.
Yep.
Along the 13,000 interviews.
Yep.
What's your favorite thing about your career, and what's your least favorite thing about your career?
That's a good mother. Richard Marx know how to ask a mother.
I'm just saying, I dressed up for it. I put on the shoes. I better have some good questions.
I remember the first time when I was a solo artist at Warner Brothers, and the first time, it's not that it didn't hit me before this happened, but it hit me super, super hard one time on this particular occasion. My first trip to Japan. And as I'm, first couple days you fly there, especially the first time you go to Japan, you need a day just to rest and to get on the clock sleep-wise and this, that, and the other. You probably have a show in 2 days. And so I've roamed around the city in Shinjuku and all the little, Harajuku area and all that. And I realized that, wow, a lot of people don't really speak English up in this motherfucker. And I'm like, strangely enough, they speak Japanese. What the So I'm doing my first performance, and I'm singing a song that was a single at the time over there, which I don't even remember because I'm almost 60. But I look out in the audience and they're all singing the words. And I'm thinking, I almost got emotional. It wasn't a sad song or anything. I almost started crying because a lot of these people don't even speak English, but they're singing my words, and I can look in their faces and see that they're singing it with passion. Yeah. And I'm like, that is the best.
When they sing sort of in broken English or with the heavy accent, it's even more meaningful.
It's so...
because they've taken the time to learn it.
Man.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, from what we were talking about before, from this thing that came from the ethos, the universe, or somewhere we were just a channel for this thing. I don't know where it came from, but I got to write this, and I got to put these backgrounds on it, and I got to bring these horns in. I don't know where it came from, but here it is. You give it out to the world, and you see how it affects people.
Yeah.
That is the...
But don't you think the part of that is because and I know it's a hard thing to describe without it sounding misleading. When I say the word selfish, I don't mean it in the most negative way. But what we do initially is for our own selfish purposes.
I think there's a lot of truth to that.
This is what we do. We know we were kind of put here to we make it up.
Right.
I want to just make beautiful things.
Right.
Or rock and roll things or whatever. I want to make beautiful, creative things. And I do it for me. I'm never thinking, aside from never written a song and thinking it's a hit, I've never sat down and thought, let's see, what can I give the public?
Let me give the public. I need to scratch this crazy creative itch for me.
I think it's such an arrogant thing to think that you're going to predict what somebody's like. You can't do it for them.
Right.
You do it for you, but when they go, oh my God, I love that thing you did for yourself. I want it too. I like that too. It's the most beautiful, humbling thing, right?
It really is, man. It really is.
And what's your least favorite thing about your career?
Probably my least favorite thing, I could probably relate it to watching the decline of the reverence that it seems like the public has for actual music and songwriting now.
That's a good answer.
You know,
That's a
because
good
when
answer.
our old ass, the whole process of going to Peaches Records and the tactile thing of holding the album cover and smelling the cardboard and
Yeah.
pulling it out and going
Seeing
through all
who
the liner
played
notes,
on it.
and you paid your money because it meant that much to you. My $8.99 for this album,
Yeah.
that I wasn't making a lot of money back then, but I gotta have that new Michael McDonald record.
Yeah.
You know, and it meant that much to me that I'm going to pay my money for this piece of art that I hold in the highest regard, so that I'm going to go home and I'm going to put it on and I'm going to just get lost in this thing. Now it's so just...
I have a theory. I have a two-tiered theory as to why, but I want to hear what you think. Why do you think that we've come this far? Why do you think that we're in a place that is kind of the opposite of what you just described?
I think, oh man, now that's a difficult question. I think we lived in a system where art, I don't know who said it, Andy Warhol or somebody, where art is what people agree is art.
Yeah, it's all subjective.
It's all subjective. And when we were growing up, music wasn't just something that you flippantly just could access any and every song that ever was right here and just, yeah, I'll listen to it later.
There you go.
It was, you had to put, it was art that mattered. And with the advent of this, it's a wonderful tool, and it's a horrible nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
And
I think that's one of my two reasons is that I've said it for years. The more easily accessible something is, the less important it is.
Right.
And what you described of like making the choice, hearing something and go,
I didn't have a car. I had to get on the bus.
Yeah, I did too. I did the same thing when I was a kid.
And get my $8, which was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
And I would spend it because it mattered that much to me.
Yeah, I think that that's number one. The other thing is, I just think that since the advent of the internet, we've almost become, as a society, a world society, conditioned to be ADD.
That's true.
So the time that you spend just doing one thing,
right,
without, and I'm guilty of it too. I preach this, but then what's that?
I'm way guilty of it.
Yeah, and I was saying to somebody not too long ago, I think it was maybe this son over here who's helping us.
The good-looking guy.
Yeah, I said something like, when's the last time you sat and listened to an album from top to bottom without checking Instagram or answering a text or seeing a news story and go, and then you still let the music play, but you're not listening to it. And I can't remember the last time, like I did the majority of my life, when a new album came out that I was excited about.
Steely Dan, I gotta listen to this thing from Rufus just came out with another. I gotta study them.
Don't talk to me.
That was it.
I need to experience
14,
this.
15, 16-year-old Eric.
Track one, I need to experience the journey that they're trying to take me on.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give them my full, undivided attention. Those days are gone.
Gone. And remember when you think about the number of chords and progressions people were able to fit on the radio in one song.
Yeah.
Like listening, I brought up Steely Dan.
Yeah.
Some of the changes and progressions and still be a #1 song.
Yeah.
Or
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
What? It's like, how was that on the radio back then? Now, if you throw more than 4 chords at somebody, they're like too jazzy.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't subscribe to the philosophy of, I find, you probably do too, like a lot of guys who are our age-ish, I hear
I'm
a lot
like an old man right
No,
now.
you're not.
Yeah.
But I'm saying whenever I hear somebody in our age range with there's no good music anymore. I go, you're just not
There
listening.
is good
You're
music.
not listening.
There is good music.
You're just missing. You're not hearing it. There's some really good shit.
There's some really
For
good-
instance, do you know, like, she's so huge now, and we're two old guys talking about this young artist, but have you heard this Sabrina Carpenter stuff that's out now?
I've heard some of it.
Espresso and Please, Please, Please. Please, Please, Please is so, well, they both are huge on social media and TikTok, and that's how I became aware of them.
Yeah.
If you go listen to this single, Please, 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 which is so massive right now, as of this taping, as of this recording, just from a technical, like, I'm going to nerd out on you guys for a second, but Eric will appreciate this. So the verse in the key, right? Major key. Then the chorus is in the same key. Then coming out of the chorus, first chorus, into the second verse, it modulates a whole step,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So you're like, oh, and then you're ready for the next chorus, which goes back to the original key and feels like a modulation because it's such a surprise. And I have listened to that moment from verse 2 into chorus 2 20 times, and every time I get goosebumps and I go, mother, brilliant.
Is that
brilliant.
specific that she did with that song, or did she do that a few times?
I haven't really heard it elsewhere. It's
Okay.
just
I'm going to listen to it.
so pleasing and so clever.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with that shit
Yeah,
and
man.
was like, hey, let's just, and it's probably, by the way, it's probably a copy paste,
Probably.
right? But
Could have
still,
been an accident.
could have been an accident, whatever. It's such a killer moment. And that's
love
what
that.
and it's like, and this isn't a new record, but like when I heard Young Girls by Bruno Mars, and I sat there and it does the break. First of all, the chord changes in that song crush me. But when he breaks down the last chorus into this sort of Phil Spector, boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, I'm like,
That's crazy.
Just feed that to me.
Yeah, man.
Put it in here.
Put it in my belly.
Yeah. Tell me more about the album.
Yeah, I'm super excited, man.
It's a full duets project,
It's a
right?
full duets project, and we came up with the EP in August, and I'm super proud of it, man. I'm super proud of it. Like,
I'm very excited for you.
yeah, thank you, man. The EP came out with Corinne Bailey Rae, Lettucey,
Tamar.
Tamar, Shantae Moore,
Bunch of no talent hacks.
and Latasha from Escape. And then with the album, man, it's one of those things where it's been 8 years since I had a single or a new project out. And Allison was like, you just can't do like another just regular old Eric Benét record. You got to do something special. And I always wanted to, I've had so much success with duets.
Yeah.
From Faith Evans to Mia.
Yeah.
And so why don't I do a whole album of duets? And I'm super proud of it.
This feels like you're gonna, like, your life could change up a little bit.
I think so.
I hope so, man.
I think so.
You
And then
deserve it.
there's a one tune on the album that, speaking of something we talked about before, I've always loved bossa nova music. I've always loved like samba and that kind of vibe, and I'd never written one.
Yeah, you were saying you were like always a fan of Jobim and
Always.
the Bel Gilberto. And,
Always.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about how much of a fan I was of that. And then, just like we said, all of a sudden, this hook just came.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Ooh. And so recorded it with my dear friend Randy Amata, and we went to Brazil.
That's the way to do it.
We went to Brazil. We worked with this incredible female group in Brazil, Saldose, and it was kind of a duet between me and that particular girl group. And I was so inspired by the whole music scene and the art scene in Brazil that my next album, I think I may just post up in Rio and do the whole record there.
That's a great idea.
I would love to
It's
do
also
that.
just sort of like, what a great experience to look back on, right?
Yes.
Before I forget, because we have to wrap it up here in a minute, but I have to ask you, you're going to turn 58, right?
I am about to turn 58.
All right, I'll be 61.
But yeah, but you
Well, by the
look,
time you see this, I am 61.
Yeah, but
and he
you-
is 58.
but you look 48.
Well, but look who's talking. But here's the thing I want to talk to you about, because
What?
one other thing I know we have in common.
We
But I
gotta
want-
wake up in the middle of the night and pee?
I'm not there yet, actually.
Yeah, I've been there.
But, and you can, I can attest to this if you just look at his Instagram. You take fitness very seriously.
I
You're
do.
in great shape. You've always been fit, but like I've noticed, and I have to tell you, you were one of the people who really inspired me about
I
a
love
year
that.
ago. As I was turning 60,
I love that.
I was like, I gotta step my shit up.
I love it, man.
And so take me through a day in
Yeah.
the life of Eric Benét when it comes to health and fitness. What's your
absolutely.
story?
So first, I love waking up early with my girls, Lucia and Luna. Lucia is,
You're such a girl dad.
I know I am. She's in 7th grade now, and Luna is in 5th grade. So I love just waking up, taking them to school. So what I'll usually do is I'll have coffee, no creamer, no sugar.
Right?
I will
Keto.
I will not eat breakfast.
Right. So you're staying in ketosis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I won't have coffee.
So it's sort of you are intermittent
Very
fasting?
much intermittent fasting.
Gotcha.
And then after I drop them off, I will probably then go to the gym. And nothing too crazy. I'll
And do
make sure-
like 94 chin-ups.
I will do
I've seen this do. I'm like, they had to speed it up. Like he's got good form. He's doing them slow like you're supposed to do. But he's doing so many of them that they had to speed up the video.
I got up my goal, which I had, well, I when I was in my 20s, I was up to like 33 pull-ups. I didn't do that. I worked
Pull-ups or chin-ups?
chin-ups.
So like this way.
Yes.
So not
way.
this.
Not that, but I'll get that in there.
That's hard.
But I'll do that. This is easier. I'll do that one
Yeah, because
first.
it's bicep.
Right.
Yeah.
See, telling my cheekbones, man. So I've gotten up to recently to like 28, 29, but I'm going to get to that 32. But no, so I'll spend a good hour and a half at the gym.
Mostly weight training.
Mostly weight. I'll do some cardio.
What's your
Mostly-
cardio?
I will, nothing exciting. Treadmill,
Gotcha.
15, 20 minutes. And then do my little weight training and get the hell out of there.
Every day?
4 times a week. 4 times, not every day. And then lunchtime, I'll
You
have
break
a meal.
your fast.
Yep. And
Okay.
then at the studio, usually I'll pick something up healthy, something that's not processed, something with vegetables, protein, no juices, no dairy,
Same.
no pork, no beef,
Same.
no sausages, no processed foods. Like
Same.
I don't know. Are you pescatarian? Do you eat fish?
I'm full on. I was vegan for years, and now I'm a little between vegan and vegetarian. I've introduced a little bit of cheese back into and eggs for the aminos and
No, that's important.
yeah. But no, I've actually not had red meat of any kind since I was 18. And I was pescatarian for a long time and then switched. But go ahead.
So I will cheat at least 2 times a year and have a hamburger. And my favorite hamburger in Los Angeles is the Apple Pan.
Oh God, I remember that when I was a kid.
And so I'll do that like once or twice, and that's my beef,
Gotcha.
right? So, and then I'll work in the studio and from like, 1 until 6, and I'll eat dinner when the girls are at home and I'm there for their bedtime.
Yeah. And a lot of water?
Lots and lots of water. No juices. It's like my coffee, teas, mainly my coffee in the morning. I can't drink coffee past noon or
Same.
else I'll be awake all night.
I don't have a caffeine thing, but I don't want coffee after. But in the morning, I gotta have my iced.
Oh, you have ice. Do you have sugar and stuff in it?
I only do monk fruit.
Oh.
So I have no sugar in my diet.
See, that's the
None.
thing. That's the thing.
And I have no
sugar.
inflammation.
There
As
it
you
is.
get older, young, but especially for the men watching
at
this, it's very important, like to eliminate anything that can cause you inflammation. He said as he drank a martini
I
immediately.
know.
But it's not. I don't have any. I get tested all the time. I don't have any
And
inflammation.
that's not a wig.
No, this is the real deal.
That's
Thank
like
God.
your dude.
Well, you
let me-
too. Look at you.
I know, man.
We're so lucky, man.
But let me ask you this, man.
We both still have every hair on our head.
I know. But I wake up and I gotta at 3 o'clock in the morning and I gotta go pee. You don't gotta go pee?
No.
you.
I'm a camel. I pee literally like twice a day. My wife is like, what the is wrong with you, man? And she'll go, you need to hydrate more. I go, martinis are hydrating. Vodka's hydrating.
You were so young when you became successful. You were a songwriter. You were doing sessions with these huge artists at what, 16?
18.
18
Just
years
out of high
old.
school.
What? Tell me this. Because I know how crazy I was when I was 18 and 19. How overwhelming was it for an 18-year-old's ego and just to have access to so much? Because look, God was smart with me. Like, I didn't have a certain level of success until I was like in my late 20s.
So that you could handle it.
So I could handle it. If I had your level of success when I was 18 years old, we might be doing this interview with me in an orange suit. or it's like me picking up you on the other side of glass and phone. So.
As my parents. I had great parents. I didn't want to disappoint my parents. I never did a drug. I never even smoked weed until I was 50.
Wow.
I took a puff of my first joint when I was 50, and smoking weed is not for me. Smoking anything. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I do dabble in heroin, meth, a little bit of meth.
Well,
you know, the
but
occasional
you make it yourself,
recreational
so it's okay.
meth.
Right.
I like a gummy now and then or whatever, if you get a buzz.
Same.
But, and I didn't really even drink hardly at all.
Yeah.
So I never really had those vices that would have gotten me in trouble.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I think I was just so fearful of disappointing my parents.
That's beautiful.
And behaving in a way that was unbecoming. I always wanted to be known as a stand-up guy, you know?
Well, you have succeeded.
Well, thank you. I've up like we all have. I've done stupid. But, and the other thing was, and I think that this is something else we have in common, from the time we were both teenagers, laser beam focused.
Absolutely.
Success.
Absolutely.
Get the prize.
Get the prize, do the steps to get to the next step.
And by the way, love the process of doing the work.
Okay, I'm about to
love
sound
the
like
journey.
An old man. I'm about to sound like an old man.
That's okay. You're spitting facts.
Do you find that when you, I'm going to get for this. There's a certain level of tenacious, like you said, laser pointed, I don't give a what do I got to do? I got to work here for 8 months before I can get enough money to pay for that studio so I can get to the next. I don't see it as much in the what is it now? The generation is a Y?
Gen Z.
No, but the early ones. Who are the early ones?
Yeah.
What is
the millennials?
It's Gen Z too.
Yeah.
It's Gen Z too.
Yeah, I definitely see it. I see it.
I don't see it as much.
It's what they call the entitlement generation.
Dude, that's what I see.
There's definitely a bunch of that. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna, and I totally see what I agree with what I see the same thing. But then my next thought is, who taught them to be that way?
Right.
You got to blame the people who either not taught them to be that way, but didn't teach them to be the other way.
Right. So
who just sort of like checked out and let them fend for themselves and let them believe that they were entitled to shit that they didn't earn. At the end of the day, and there does come a point where no matter what your upbringing was, you got to step up and just be. You just
got to put it in gear no matter what.
But I know what you mean, and I feel really grateful that you and I came, being around the same age. I'm a little older than you, but coming from, that was definitely a generational thing for both of us. It was like,
you want it? Go get it.
Go earn it, go get it.
That was
Nobody's going to hand it to you.
That was it. That was it. That was it. It was
Can we do 3 more episodes?
Today. Let's do them today.
I wish I didn't have to bail. I end every episode with a gift. Now I think I nailed it.
Did you get me Tiny Tim?
Tiptoe through the tulips.
That's a generational thing.
I'm going to guess, because this is in my top 5 favorite singers of all time, that is probably in your top 5 favorite singers of all time.
I'm sorry, that was probably loud.
And I usually give an old piece of vinyl, usually from something that I have collected forever.
Right.
But when I was thinking about, I think I want to give him an album by this person, this is a new piece of vinyl that came out.
Oh my God.
And
I was
it's
just talking about him.
his
with,
like.
with
Tell me
my
a better
sister.
singer. Tell me a better singer.
There is none. Because the thing about Donny Hathaway,
More than you'll ever know.
I know it's that thing. It's there's so much, and I think I understand why with him. I don't know if, I mean, his daughter, I don't think would mind. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. Layla, I'm a good friend of Layla. But anyway,
I met her once. She was a sweetheart.
She's a sweetheart. But I had the pleasure of having deep conversations with not only Maurice White, but Bill Withers, who were very, very close to this man. And there was so much tortured soul and pain.
He jumped out of a building, man.
Right.
Oh, that's a bad way to go.
Can I?
But he was hearing voices. He thought that
Right.
everybody was out to get him. He was ill,
Right.
and he wasn't medicated. He didn't get the help he needed.
And it hurts. It hurts. But that hurt,
You could hear it.
you can hear it through the filter of those beautiful vocal cords.
Yeah.
I can feel the pain. And that's why his voice is
and
so
effortless.
Right.
Effortless. You go listen to a song for you by him. It's
I don't want anybody else to don't sing that.
No.
Do something else.
So
but, yeah.
enjoy. It's a new
this is beautiful.
compilation of like old and
This
kind of more
is
obscure
beautiful.
stuff.
This is perfect for me. You nailed it, mother.
So here's the plan. We're gonna just use Sonos. You're gonna come back.
Yes.
We're gonna have a martini night,
Yes.
and we're gonna continue this
Do you play
without
poker?
cameras. Not really, but I would be game.
I'd like to play strip poker with you. I would like that.
I told you many times that I like you, but not in that way.
Man, I'm here.
We
I'm
have to
down.
hang, and
I'm down.
we'll put on some Donnie and pick this up
That sounds like a perfect night.
because we didn't scratch the surface.
For real.
So we have to do episode number 2.
We have to.
I really, and aside from the selfish part of like, I think this is fun for people to watch, it's just testament to like, I need to hang out with you more. I run into people all the time I don't like.
Right.
The people I want to hang with,
Right.
I never see.
The motherfuckers who get on your nerves, you keep running into them. Right.
Anyway, I'm very excited about your life and your career
Thank
and
you,
your
man.
next chapter with the Duets album.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and I love you.
I love you, man. It's always so fun hanging out with you.